Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Supervisor Clayton.
Here.
Senior Councilwoman Dorothy Gooseby. Here. Councilman Anthony D'Esposito.
I'm here.
Councilman Muscarella.
Here.
Councilman Blakeman.
Here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Councilman Carini.
Here. And as Councilman Carini to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Will you please stand? Place your hand over your heart and pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the first public hearing.
Pardon me, Madam Clerk and Supervisor, before we begin the public hearings, we have gotten a request for a motion to be made for adjournment with respect to one of the public hearings. So in the interest of saving everybody time, I would ask that we would take that item out of order and give a motion by Mr. D'Agostino.
Okay. Mr. D'Agostino, if you could go to that mic. Good morning.
I didn't read about that.
Yes, please.
I have a phone, you can look at it.
And anybody here today, public day, counter in the back table by the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. There are certain things that we're reviewing internally, and I would respectfully request this hearing be adjourned to December 7th, which is the next date that I have available.
Mr. D'Agostino, just to be clear, you're referring to items 7A, 7, and 8 on our public hearing calendar.
I don't pause yet.
Thank you. And the application is to adjourn it to this meeting on December 7th.
December 7th.
Thank you.
Supervisor, I will make a motion to adjourn Mr. D'Agostino's application, items 7A, 7, and 8, till the December 7th meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Aye. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. D'Agostino. Madam Clerk, please call the first public hearing.
We have a proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in East Meadow, Lido Beach, Merrick, North Valley Stream, Uniondale, and Montauk.
Okay, does any member of the town board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips on this. Is anybody here in the public that wishes to be heard on this item? Okay. If not, move the public hearing be closed. Madam motion.
I move that the public hearing be closed and the local law be adopted.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the next item?
We have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions near Cedarhurst, East Meadow, Inwood, Lido Beach, near Lynbrook, North Valley Stream, Uniondale, and West Hempstead.
Does any member of the board wish to be heard on this item? If not, I do not have any slips. Does any member of the public here today wish to be heard on item number 2? Okay, if not, may I please have a motion?
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the local law adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. And Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Elmont, Franklin Square, Merrick, North Belmore, North Valley Stream, Oceanside, Seaford, Montauk, and Woodmere.
Does any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips on this item. Does anybody in the public here today wish to be heard on this item? Okay, if not, may I please have a motion?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the local law adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Councilman Muscarella.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding prohibition of left turns in Merrick.
Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips. Any member of the public here today wish to be heard on this item?
Yes.
Okay, if you please come to the back and give your name and address. Good morning.
Good morning. Maybe say Mary Day, Italian Hempstead resident. My concern with regard to just the general nature prohibition of left turns in Merritt, if there are specific streets, specific rationale, it's just an issue because you have a number of locations where you need to make a left turn, even though some people these days drive like they've lost their mind. I still would want to make sure that we're not going to be seeing a plethora of these types of general prohibitions that make it difficult for a lot of residents to get to their homes and or places of business because they have to travel further along, where we could possibly look at some kind of research or study that can incorporate a few more left turn signals that would make it safer for all involved. And while I'm standing here on my time, I'm just questioning why the previous resolutions, the public hearing for 7A, 7, and 8, were just arbitrarily moved to December 7th if they weren't ready for publication and discussion at this hearing. And it just seems convenient that it's taking place after the election. So, if someone can address my issue that pertains to on the record with regard to these parking situation, and if someone could address my issue as it pertains to the other hearing being removed. If it wasn't ready, it should have been on here.
Very briefly, in response to your question about the application that was made to adjourn the 3 hearings, that was done at the request of the applicant. The applicants themselves said they needed additional time. It's just common courtesy when an applicant is presenting something before the board if they require additional time to agree to the adjournment. And that is why it was granted.
And then if you could identify yourself.
Good morning, Supervisor. Tom Reed, representing Traffic Control Division. Well, this particular prohibition on this item is for the Pat's Farm in Merritt, and we got the recommendation from Nassau County to do this. But if there's a location you'd like to discuss that you feel that we need to look at, I'd be happy to discuss the case with you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public who should be heard on this item? If not, may I please have a motion?
Move the public hearing be closed to the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Boothby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding gross weight restrictions in the South Valley Stream.
Member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips on this. Any member of the public here today wish to be heard on this? If not, may I please have a motion?
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the local law adopted.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Boothby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in East Meadow, Elmont, Oceanside, Roosevelt, Seaford, Valley Stream, and West Hempstead.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? If you do not have any slips, does any member of the public here today wish to be heard on this item? Okay, if not, may I please have a motion?
Make a motion that we close the hearing and we adopt the item.
Second motion.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito. Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilman Boothby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yes. Madam Clerk, would you please call the administrative calendar?
We have items 9 through 51.
First, does any member of the board wish to speak on any of the items on the administrative calendar? I have a couple of slips in here. We'll start with Diane Madden. Morning, if you name and address of the record, please.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. I'd like to speak and have a couple of questions on item number 46. A resolution to dedicate Hempstead Town Hall Plaza in Councilman Boothby's name. It's not for me to determine whether the councilwoman deserves this or not. I would have liked to have seen a host go up and have her community give you some feedback on their thoughts. I notice this is unbelievable timing for you, Supervisor. Duly noted that it's weeks before the election. And Councilwoman Gooseby, in exchange for this, I would have so much appreciated, instead of putting it on the backs of the public, to ask the board to pass diversity consultants to oversee the hiring in this town, to level the playing field for your own community, maybe to work with the community to open up urgent care centers. I believe none exist in Uniondale. And my favorite, to propose term limits for every single elected seat in this town. Term limits. So that there's never an abuse of power, so that there are community members that are heard. Because all this is pandering, and it's a huge disappointment that this board, in the past almost 2 years, has not passed one single good government transparency initiative. Not one. That is what you should be holding press conferences on. Thank you.
Okay, next slip I have is Felix Procacci. Good morning, if you could name and address for the record, please.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. I concur with Diane Madden. This item, if the board wants to do this, should be done after the election, so it doesn't seem like it's done for political reasons, which is odd. That why didn't you do this last year? Why didn't you do it 6 months ago? Why is it urgent, 4 weeks before the election, 5 weeks before the election? So I ask that this be put off till after the election, just like you put your raises, when you vote on your raises for elected officials, those are put off till after the election. You never vote on your raises before the election. So in the same, for the same reason, you should put this off after the election. Thank you.
Just so you know, we actually announced this about a year ago, and then 3 weeks later, a pandemic broke out, so we had to delay it. Next person I have is Reverend Mario. Reverend? Good morning, if you give me name and address for the record. How are you?
Good morning. My name is Tony Hall from Brooklyn. My issue is about, I wouldn't mind seeing Dr. Ducey's day. And my thing is, we have a park situation in Roosevelt that hasn't been addressed at all. We don't have a practice field for the kids for football or soccer. Just lately.
Does it have anything to do with item number 46 on the calendar?
Yes, it does, because it's not even on the agenda, which we told was going to be on the agenda. That's why we're here this morning. The kids have nowhere to go to the bathroom at all. Just earlier this week, the bathrooms was taken out. Portable bathrooms was taken out. We've been there for 40 years. We haven't had one thing done to that park in 40 years. In 40 years. We were the first to put up lights. We climbed the pole ourselves, us and a few coaches, drilled holes and made the park with a generator so the kids can have somewhere to go. The two entrances in the park, if you look, you wouldn't want your kids to come out of there. If you all want to come and see the entrance to those parks, you would be embarrassed. We are embarrassed. We bring our rakes every day to clean up behind the people that's there. It's embarrassing that we can't go to Roosevelt Park, we can't go to Centennial Park. We have no surrounding parks to go to. We can't go to the high school to practice. We have nowhere to practice. My daughter had a place in Baldwin, she was allowing the children to go. Reverend Mackey's brother was allowing us to use the upstairs of the church. We have nowhere to go to practice the kids. If you walk through that entrance, you will fall, trip and fall, and stumble. Now, just lately, we had a conversation with a person, and come this week, we have no bathrooms. We told we can't be there. But we've been there for 40 years. We was told the water company owned it. We knew that. The Germans owned it from the water company. We knew that, but if it isn't broken, don't fix it. We've been there dealing with that issue for 40 years, and we don't have nowhere to go. So where the kids today or tomorrow going to go to the bathroom? I think that was devilish that the bathrooms was taken out after all these years. It's embarrassing. If you go to any park, Wanto, Massapequa, Unionville, Farmingdale, Cedarhurst, anywhere, they have bathrooms. If they don't, they got portable bathrooms. And Roosevelt, we don't have anything.
Right.
Not one place. If you see the facility to walk in through there, you wouldn't even walk in there. Believe me, we did a all-star team in there, and we were embarrassed to have the white people come to show them where we practiced at for 40 years. The residents everywhere. It was embarrassing.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any other slips on the administrative calendar. Is anybody else here in the public wish to be heard on the administrative calendar?
Hello.
Hi, how you doing? If you could have your name and address for the record.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Mario Judge, and I'm practically partner with Mr. Tony Hall, and I concur with everything that Mr. Tony Hall has said. And what many of us need to understand, Roosevelt is about 1.6.
Is this on item number 46?
Yes, it's item 46, it's part of it. Okay, just a statement with Mr. Tony Hall. Okay, what I want to say, okay, and I take my seat, is that it's 1 square mile, and we don't have one jackpot. None. And Henry Street was given to us, okay, as a courtesy. The water company allowed us to use the park, okay? And we understand that there was a contract, okay, issued to the town of Hempstead and allowed us to use the park. But we don't have a bathroom, okay? Just a couple of months ago, okay, we spoke with the town of Hempstead. They were supposed to come and fix the light. The lights are dim. When after dark, the kids don't have a place. After dark, it's the lights are dim, we can't see. It's ridiculous. They were supposed to come and fix the water company, the light, cut the trees, nothing happens. Okay, it is an injustice for us in Roosevelt not to have what other communities have. That's all we have. I've been coaching soccer for 22 years approximately. I coached high school, okay, as a varsity coach for 13 years. You can look at the record, Reverend Mario Just. And I decided to move on and leave the high school and be a coach, okay, with Mr. Tony Hall as a football coach, and I'm a commissioner of soccer, president of Roosevelt Vision Soccer Club, and to help these, I have 150 children in my program, and he has about 120 kids in his program. That is an injustice. And other communities have their kids, have parks, and we have none whatsoever. Look it up. Sir, that's what we I apologize for taking so long, but please do something for us. That's all we ask.
You're referring to Centennial Park?
No, we refer to Henry Street Park.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
Commissioner Zangler, if you could just give us a brief
yes, please.
Summary of what's taking place.
Sir, we just asking for this. Build something for us in the community. Football and soccer, that's all we ask. Just like Merritt, Baldwin, Freeport, Unionville, we have nothing.
Okay.
And you should see the park that we use. There's rocks. Somebody came in Saturday, we don't have the right to be there. We have portable bathroom. 35 at this point, I do my runs every morning before I go to work. The portable bathroom will move. Where are they supposed to have their doo-doo, their pee-pees? On the floor? Come on, people. Do something for us. God bless you.
And that should be on the 23rd.
Okay, now, Commissioner Zangler, is that a town park, or could you use the...
Well, I spoke to you down there.
I know, but Commissioner Zangler is going to respond now.
Previously, it was owned by American Water.
Okay.
And a couple of other water companies. It changed hands in the past. As a courtesy, we've just cut the grass. We really can't do any infrastructure on it.
We don't own the property.
We don't own the property.
Okay.
We understand that we don't own the property, but it was a signed thing, there's a contract for 20 years for you to have the park and take care of it. And now, wait a minute, sir. Wait a minute. The contract expired, we spoke to an individual on the board that they were going to renew the contract. But you have to, but you did nothing for us. Take the park. I just spoke to somebody this morning. You know what they said? They said that she said to me that it is not their responsibility that to take care of. But yet you have a contract by the water company to take care of it so that we can use it. There's rocks. And we should treat the case. It is an injustice and unfair, sir. Where's the righteousness? Where's the fairness?
Thank you, Reverend Councilwoman.
What I'd like to say to you is, sir, I know the park was there when I first came on board, okay? At that time, you had a waiver for it from the company. That was a different water company. That was the Long Island Water Company, all right? You had it at that time. And then what happens? The company from Germany came in and purchased all of that land. And we tried at this time to purchase it back from them. They would not sell it to us. Because what was happening is you need water in Uniondale. In Roosevelt. They put some tanks underneath that ground. And because the tanks are there, we tried to make sure that they could leave it, but they would not sell it to us. So now it was purchased by another water company. That you had a lease, maybe 5 years or so ago, you had it. That was before the Germans purchased it. Once they purchased it, it's not ours. We don't have any right to be on that. But then let me finish. I let you finish.
Yeah,
Let me finish, sir. You say you're a minister, right?
Yes.
Okay, respect that. I respect the minister, so would you please respect what I have to tell you?
No problem. Well, this could be. Sorry about that.
All right. So what happened was, now we have a different water company who owns it. I told you before, we have met with them. We had a meeting with our attorney, their attorneys, and the main people who own it came. We are working, I let you know at that time that we are working to try to get another lease from them to let you use it. So we have to do that. But if you go in there, you're not going to find it. And you get porta potties will come from us, once we do that. And we're going to do a big business on that place. You're going to have new fences and all of that will come. Once they give us the permission, we cannot go on land that does not belong to us.
Okay.
So please, just like if I want to come to your house and just move in and do what I want to do in your house, could I do that?
So why?
Could I do that? Let's ask it. I'm trying to explain. Okay, so I'm trying to tell, we cannot use land that does not belong to us. We are constantly working on it, and I thought by now it would be completed, but it's not. So we have our attorney, plus they have their attorney. So as soon as that is done, I told you before, we will have a nice opening once it's completed.
Thank you. Now what happened is...
I have nothing with God City. Listen, if you live in Roosevelt all these years, you would know that much of what you had there was sold out, okay? And that was before I came on board. You had it sold out. You have houses built on it and everything else. All of that happened before my time. And that's how we won the lawsuit, if you know about it.
Okay, yes.
Okay? But I'm trying to tell you, as soon as we finish with the law, and it's okay with them, and they let us have it, we think they're going to give us 10 years.
That's good.
Okay, 10 years. So once that's completed, then we will go ahead and make sure that you'll be able to use the park.
All right, thank you, Mr. What happens if they don't allow you? What are you going to do for us? For the 20 years. It's been like this for 20 years.
Thank you. 3 minutes. Now, I don't have any other citizens or anyone else.
So if
That's
there's
it.
any other
Sir, please, let's...
So we practice in Garden City?
Yes, is there anybody else that isn't here that didn't sign in? Sure, if you could please come up to the mic and sign in, give your name and address. Sorry, you please, be respectful. We've given the 3 minutes. There are other residents. Thank you. You can always speak to the Parks Commissioner in the back. Thank you. Young lady, thank you.
You said I'm a reverend. Fine.
Good morning, ma'am. Can I have your name and address for the record? Thank you.
Okay, they need to hear us.
Thank you.
I'll keep the suffering.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Where's the park commissioner?
What? Sir. That's the Parks Commissioner right there. If you'd like to, well.
Thank you, sir.
No, can you hold on for a second? Because if you could stick around, because the question might be coming up, so I'd like to have the, I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Ma'am, we now welcome you this morning. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Nice to see you.
I got up this morning, so everything is
There you go.
I want to say, first of all, my name is Laura L. Wiggins. I reside in Uniondale, and I'm here speaking on 46. I want to say that before I make my comments in reference to Senior Councilwoman Dorothy Guzman, that when there is a problem, there are solutions. Your approach, my approach, and everybody else's approach. But we come together and we come up with one solution for one problem. We do not blame 1, 2, 3 when there are 6, 7, 8, etc., etc., etc. We come together. Anger does not accomplish anything but produce more anger. One person can do their best, but you cannot condemn them for the problem because they did not produce the problem. If you feel strong about what you feel is right, then take the creative and the productive mode. Do your research, do your history, and then come up with other people who will confer with you, and then you will arrive at a solution. In reference to the renaming, I approve of it. I live in Uniondale. And it's not that Uniondale has everything, because we don't. We don't have clean water to drink. Okay? There are neighborhoods in which, or shall I say streets in which every house has had someone who has passed from the poison of the water. So instead of singling out 1, 2, 3 people, you need to focus on that which is affecting you, your children, and your children's children. Those who have been in and have given us the service for 18 or 19 years, appreciate what they've done in the time that they did it. Because believe me, and I'm no young chicken, but when I came up, they were lynching, they were shooting, and they're still doing it. So if you want to practice what you preach here today, go out and do the work that others did and gave their life, their energies, and produced what you stand on today, on their efforts, their collective efforts of all people, not just. May I just conclude by saying, because that was the time of the total.
It was the time. And thank you very much. And I know the council would appreciate your nice comment there. So that was very nice of you. Thank you.
So I would just like to say one thing else. Uniondale is the same as Roosevelt, is the same as Hempstead, is the same as Lakeview. Is it Lakeview? Yeah. Bottom line, let's get together, discuss our problems, and come up with a solution. Let us not sit down and try to.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
You very much. I don't have any other slips in the administrative calendar, but I see you'd like to go to the back. Oh. We'll have you give your name and address, sir.
How you doing? My name is Aubrey Moore, 14 Grand Street, Roosevelt. I just wanted to camel back on the topic of Henry Street Park quickly. You know, I'm from the neighborhood. I've been in the.
No, I understand the Henry Street. Is there anything on the administrative calendar though that you want to speak about?
I'm still touching on 46.
Okay.
You know, I grew up playing in that park, and I'm 40 years old. I played in that park since I was at the age of 9. I now coach in that park. Both of my kids played in that park. That park has never had grass. It's always been a dirt field. It's always been rocks. It's always been unsafe. It's been like an inside joke that the conditions of the park make the kids in Roosevelt tougher than the kids in other towns because of what we are forced to play on. Now, I understand that you don't have control of the park, but we're kind of in a catch-22. The community has been taking care of that park for the last 40 years. So if you can't officially come in and make renovations to the park, then can you unofficially allot its caretakers a stipend so we can take care of the park?
I think, Councilman?
Again, it is not ours. The land does not belong to us. And I explained to you, you're not listening. The only thing I want to tell you is, again, we have had our attorneys meet, and we've had the members of the water company meet with us. And we're working on it now. I was hoping it would be done by today, but it's not. We have to pass the law. We have to let them give us the right to use the park. And once we do that, we're going to make sure that it's in the condition it can be. We asked about putting in a bathroom, they said no. And the reason for that is because the water tanks where you drink your water from are coming from there. Roosevelt had a very hard time with the water. It was really rusty, the clothes were coming out brown. So they put in new tanks, and you see all of the paraphernalia around it. They have everything there to clean it up. But they will let us use it. They were very nice to us, and I'm sure it will be done. But we cannot tell you that you can go in on somebody else's property. We can't do it. I feel for you with the kids. I know what you're saying. I understand it. But for 40 years, you might have been using it, but it never belonged to this town. Never belonged to this town. So we're trying now to get another lease. So if we get that, then we'll be able to do what we need to do. But we can't put bathrooms in because of the water tanks that are there. They won't sell the land because the water tanks are there, because they may have to get in to make sure that if anything happens to those tanks, they have to go in and make sure that they repair it. So that's all I have to tell. That's the law.
Ma'am, I heard you out in its entirety. What I asked is, can you unofficially, we're not asking you for permission to use the park. We've been using the park for 40 years. Every renovation in the park has been made by somebody from the community. My father works for Long Island Power Authority. The light system that's in the park, he put those lights in the park when I was a child, that now the town now maintains. So we've been making renovations and taking care of that park without permission for 40 years. We're not asking you for permission. You understand what the problem is. We're asking you to unofficially give us funds to assist us in doing what we've been doing for 40 years.
Sir, I have some very good news for you. In 12 days, we have reached an agreement in principle, which we are reducing to written form. We're ready virtually to be able to complete the whole effort in order to license the property from a water company, as the councilwoman has urged and as she's requested. So I think in 12 days' time, you're going to see that there will be an agreement that will allow the town to be on the property and to make improvements on the property for the park, for the people, at the request of the councilwoman, and that will happen at the next meeting. I think that's very good news, and I think we should all be pleased and grateful to the councilwoman for her efforts in order to accomplish this agreement that we're about to enter, and that will be entertained in 12 days.
Understood, but again, in our interest, we haven't had anything done in 40 years, so we're just trying to protect ourselves and the kids in the community. You have over 300 kids into that park every week. You have lights that need to be fixed right now. You have water that needs to be fixed right now, and it's not $1 million. We can't get anybody out there to remedy the problem right now, fix the lights so we can see on the rocks.
It's on our property, so we're not allowed to, right, Joe?
Without an agreement, we can't.
Can you give us access to another park? In the meantime, what we do for us in the meantime, because Roosevelt is a part of the town of Hempstead. The kids of Roosevelt is a part of the town of Hempstead. The kids of Roosevelt deserve the same.
Sir, listen,
Accommodations.
I understand how.
That all the other towns.
Reverend. Would you please stop? Because he just told you, he has, I guess it came in, you got it from the water company?
Yes.
Okay, so there are.
We did here in 12, we did here in 12.
12 days. And that's when we'll be able to do that legally. We will be able to do it legally within that time period. Legally. You cannot do it, I'm not going to say I'm going to do it.
We're asking for a legal location.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any other, I know there's a gentleman that wanted to speak on the administrative calendar in the back. Yep. Have you name and address and which item are you speaking on?
Mita J. Merriday. Current Baldwin, but lifetime Rough Rider, born and raised in Roosevelt. I'm appalled by the situation, not shocked.
Which item are you talking on?
I'm getting to that, Supervisor. No, I already know that number. I'm not even at that number. 22, we're talking about authorizing amendment to the 2021 adopted budget. And I encourage people who are sitting here, residents, and are listening, you need to show up in the next couple of weeks. Because if you want to know where your dollars are not going, that's it. You cannot have more people who are elected in the position, and the people who pay the taxes are the less number in the room. There are the few of us who are in the room. We hear your cries, but you need to be making those announcements and pronouncements when they are deciding on budgets and expenses. Because this is the county, this is the township that put in touchless toilets during the pandemic with our funding when you couldn't even come here, let alone use a bathroom. So to find out that a park that I knew about from a child, prior to even having any parks in Roosevelt, where my parents and grandparents fought to get accommodations that are just the lifeblood in communities such as Garden City and Hewitt, that we have to fight for that. Now I live in Baldwin, and guess what? We got $10 million from the state. Not a dime as yet has been addressed for the downtown revitalization. The civic associations involvement would love to see the 3 council people whose areas touch on Baldwin. Haven't seen you, haven't heard from you. Where's the town of Hempstead? Where's that $10 million? Contracts. Somebody mentioned earlier about the lack of diversity. Not one contract listed here says that the company performing the contract is owned by a minority, a woman, or a service-disabled veteran. Where is the diversity? Where is the inclusion? Where is the fact that all people matter? All lives matter. All taxpayers matter. Our voices need to be heard, not just when you toss us a bone to give us career services, occupational resources, when you can't give somebody a job, when you can't give somebody a decent park for them and their children to actively exert their own energy and utilize your resources. Nassau County alone, we pay the 2nd highest taxes in the country. For what? What do we have to show for it? 2829, again, authorizing an award to GTX Construction Associates. I wonder whose friend or relative is connected to that. We have a problem here in the town of Hempstead. Residents are tired. I heard you say,
thank you very much, Ms. Meredith.
My time is up. My time is never going to be up.
Great, we have another speaker right behind you. Thank you very much.
I understand that, but I'm going to...
Thank you, Ms. Meredith.
Please answer, and then I'm going to respond, as it is my right in the First Amendment for freedom of speech. So lean forward, Senior Councilwoman Gooseby, or I should say Councilwoman.
Ms. Meredith,
say what you need to say.
The gentleman's waiting. Thank you very much.
So I'm waiting to hear what she has to say. I pause.
Thank you very much. We have the gentleman come up, and I'm sure you're going to be sticking around for the public section comment.
Got that right.
Thank you. Good morning. Again. Good morning. Give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
If you look up, you see what the situation is.
Yes, my name is Gerald Godfrey in Roosevelt. Some of you are familiar with me when I first came here 2 months ago. I'm here for a couple of reasons, but it's going to start off with Nassau County. They gave me 5 minutes to speak because of my disability. How come this meeting is only giving me 3 minutes to speak? I'm asking a question. I have not had any response.
Didn't know Nassau County did that. We can take it under advisement. Thank you for pointing it out.
So you're not going to answer that?
No, I did. I said we didn't know Nassau County was providing that. I'll check with the county, and I appreciate you taking the time to let us know.
So I can't get 5 minutes now.
Mr. Godfrey, what? Come on, please.
Courtesy, during his time.
All right. Second thing, 46, leadership. Well, I myself had tried contacting Dorothy Brewster myself. She had another person who responded back to me. This is what this whole thing is about. She hasn't responded back to anybody. People don't know what's going on in the neighborhood. People don't know what's going on anywhere. So we have to be left in the dark because she does not want to do her part of the job to communicate with the people. She wants us to vote for you, but then she doesn't want us to help with people. I have a sensitive matter. I beg. I call her assistant. I call her office. I email her. I even emailed her along with everybody else. And I got no response. She's the only one that did not respond. She's the only one. And y'all voted for her to go ahead and name a building after her. Yeah, she might have done things in the past, but as of right now, she is not doing anything for me. I have a personal matter that I needed her help. And I didn't get it. And I think it's unfair that you have to wait till voting season to say, okay, let's name a building after her so she can get more votes. You said you worked for something a year ago. Well, let me ask you a question. How come the community doesn't know about it? We should know about it. We should be informed. We are the community, we are the taxpayers, and we are the voters. Give us some type of attention. That's all we ask for. We didn't ask for anything else. We are part of this community. Just like you up there on that board, and you're part of it. Make us part of the county, the Hempstead. Make us part of that. When I first saw her, she said to me, I fight for everything. As of now, I haven't seen her fight for anything.
Okay, first of all, let him know that he can go back to any book with law and the people who don't know. Look for Goolsby versus Town of Hempstead, okay? Read that and see how far that went, as far as the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And you have a right to anything, just all of you do. I'm listening to you. Roosevelt has had its share of whatever other people could give you, all right? You have a lot of homes built here. When I first came on, there was a plot that we should be having. Hopefully we'll get enough money to do it. You'll be able to have something else to add. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you from all I've gone through in my life. And you come here and you say things like that. That is totally not acceptable. And everybody out there is listening to you because they know how much we've had to put forth to get to where you are now, so that you have the work to do it. And sir, when you were here the first time, you told me that you had sent me so many emails. We took your package, and there was only one email there. And that email was not from me to you, because you had called and had a problem. We sent a letter, an email to the police department, because that's where it should have gone. So you can't say that you sent all these emails and that you've been calling me and so forth and so on. I disagree with you, so that's it. I'm not going to talk.
It started off, the email started off with the town of Hempstead, and if you, as a person, if you call somebody, you will want somebody to respond to you.
If you'd like to...
All you have to do is, sir, please,
Sir.
I didn't get my 5 minutes. And
Sir.
my point is that no, because you're going to tell me that please sit down. I asked for 5 minutes. You're not giving me the 5 minutes.
Sir, we right now we have a policy of 3 minutes. I'm being respectful and sir, the policy right now is 3 minutes. As always, I'm happy to have anybody sit in the back with you, as we have on other meetings, to assist you. And I know that I think 1 or 2 people from the building department did give you assistance, if I'm not mistaken. If you'd like to stay in the back, we'd be happy to talk to you in the back as well. And we appreciate you coming here as always.
I'm not going in the back anymore.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other slips. Is there anybody else in the public that would like to be heard on the administrative calendar? Okay, no one, sir. We're here to help you. And I said, Kathy or any of the staff, thank you very much. Anybody else wish to be heard on the administrative calendar? Great. If you give your name and address for the record, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for the record, I did sign in for the administrative calendar. Bonnie Barone, Rockville Center. I have some questions about item 30.
Valid.
Item 30 says that the Commissioner of General Services deemed it necessary to accept the proposal to perform emergency inspection and safety work on the electrical system. I'm wondering if the Commissioner can tell us what was that emergency? How much did it cost?
Identify yourself, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Supervisor, Town Board, and Senior Councilwoman. This is for a resolution asking the board members to do some work in Newtown Hall, 1 Washington. Some of the transformers here are getting older and stuff, and as we did work, we saw some issues that we'd like to make sure that it's safe for the public and safe for the people to work in.
What was the emergency?
We're doing a safety test on, again, it's a large electrical room, but then there's also sub-panels and so forth. This building was from 1960, and as time went on, we retrofitted stuff and so forth. So I don't know all the jargon of it, but what I can tell you is that this here is a company that has the ability to test all the lines to make sure that they're safe and that they're low risk for fire or some type of bad problem.
And when did this occur?
A month or 2 ago.
And there wasn't sufficient time to select a vendor through the normal procedures?
Or the legal one? Well, when there's an emergency like this, we just thought it best to find a company that does something like this.
And how was this particular company chosen?
I think on the internet, to be quite honest.
The town does not have a panel of electricians who are pre-qualified or, on contract for requirements.
Actually, we do, but this area is a specialty. In other words, you're able to test the ability of the integrity of the lines and so forth. It's really a very, specialty. We have a street lighting division. We have more than one company. I think Palace Electric, a few others that are on contract. But in this case, this is to test the ability, the integrity of the line and so forth.
And are normal vendors who have been pre-qualified are not capable of doing that?
Not that I know of. This is a specialty item.
And we didn't see fit to have a company to bid out or RFP to have a company like this to do this kind of work, available through normal channels in case there was an emergency?
This is a very, I'm going to say it's a unique situation. Now we'll have, after this going forward, we'll probably put requirements that includes this. Maybe we'll make this separate, but we're probably going to do that going forward.
Again, I'm just not clear on the emergency nature. You're saying that the lines are 60 years old. What occurred?
Commissioner, just correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this a situation where there was an update recently to the HVAC system that needed to be done, and there was power being drawn that was over the top, and that's what created the emergency?
There was a lot of that. Correct. It seemed that this started to happen when we had put more.
So it's not that we ignored it from 1960, it's that we stepped up to improve our HVAC system. The power was being drawn too much, and we had to make sure that the wires were correct so we didn't light the place on fire.
But as it was happening, it was shorting out, and we just couldn't let it go on, so we had to...
Right, so that would be the emergency.
I'm gonna ask you, Commissioner. So, we have an emergency. The town of Hempstead is self-insured up to $1 million. Some of the property policies basically require, by contract, when you have an insurance company, that you have to, in your due diligence, repair anything if you're notified of it. Otherwise, the contract with the insurance company is null and void. So if we come up with a problem and we can't get it fast enough done, and we have some kind of a loss, whether it's a fire and a disaster, our insurance company, if we don't deem it to be essential to get it fixed, we're liable past the limit of our policies. And I 30 years in the insurance business, I would say, Jerry, I don't know, I haven't looked at it, or the town board, but I'm pretty sure that when you have this type of emergency and involves insurance companies, you have to bypass the system to make sure that we're properly insured. And that's, you know, you can answer that if you know that's the case, but.
That's obviously the case, but we're also afraid for people. We want to make sure that it's safe for everybody. Just like in my home, if anything's wrong with gas or with electric, I'm going to fix it or get someone there ASAP. This is the best way we can come up with.
Okay, you know, I'm not an idiot, and I'm not suggesting that we let the place burn down or that we violate our insurance requirements. Far from it. What I'm questioning is, why was it necessary for the commissioner to just pick a company when this is, you know, this is a business. This is a complicated business. They should have appropriate planning in place. And we just wake up one day and say, oh my God, you know, we know we were upgrading the HVAC, you know, through COVID. Everybody knows that. So how did it just arise one day that, oh my goodness, it never occurred to anybody, we need to test the lines, and the commissioner can just pick a company? That's what I'm asking about. And I know I'm not going to get a satisfactory answer, but everybody who's hearing this should think about how this occurred. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any other slips. Is there anyone else here in the public wishes to be heard on the administrative calendar? Okay, if you could please give your name and address for the record. That has already been heard.
I'm sorry?
Yep. Name and address for the record, please.
Valerie Heffron, and for the next 40 days I'll be St. Augustine, Florida. I'm actually looking to, if possible, and I believe it is possible, I'd like to give this gentleman my 3 minutes.
No, you can't do that. Sorry, we're not allowed. And is there anything else on the administrative calendar you'd like to speak on?
Yes, I was going to speak on item 28, but I just would like to make this point. You have set precedents in the past where people weren't here and you allowed someone from West Hempstead to read an email into the record. So in lieu of that, I think you pass emergency resolutions all the time. Can you just take a vote and
Ms. Heffron, would you like to speak on item number 28, please?
my 2.5 minutes, please? Can you
Ms.
just
Heffron, you know the policy.
minutes? He has a disability.
Ms. Heffron, you know the policy. If you'd like to speak on the
I
calendar.
do, I'm just asking for an exception.
Ms. Heffron, no.
Oh my God.
Are you guys?
He won't give it to me.
Are you for the people?
Ms. Heffron, would you like to speak?
They're not. Valerie,
I'm sorry, sir, I tried.
Okay, thank you very much for your help.
I apologize. It's actually really upsetting and disturbing to see that. Resolution, item number 28, I wanted to ask exactly what is Kennel 4 going to receive restoration-wise at the shelter for $67,000?
In this resolution, we're asking the town board, this is from the capital plan, this is to upgrade dog run number 4, excuse me, put new fencing up and stuff. The gates are getting older, they pop open, things get rusty and older, and it's part of our capital plan to keep improvements up.
Where is kennel number 4, please?
You're facing the building, it's the one on the right, or the westernmost one.
It's an outdoor kennel?
No, it's indoor.
It's the indoor kennel. And so the gates are rusting, and for $67,000, was this put out to bid?
This was put out to bid. There was only one person that answered the bid. They're from Freeport, New York.
And so you don't think it's wise to maybe put it out to bid again?
Put this out to bid.
$67,000 is a lot of taxpayer money. I'd much prefer to see some bathrooms in that park over there in Roosevelt, as opposed to $67,000 for a fence for a kennel. I mean, I can upgrade my entire kitchen for that amount of money with top-of-the-line appliances and marble. And I'm sorry, is there anyone else here from the shelter? Because Commissioner Marino, with all due respect, you've lied to my face several times with several questions. Last month, I watched you say that the TNR program was back completely. It's not. We just had someone call there again yesterday. You're still at one cat per person per week. You also lied about the food recall. You said you didn't get any notification. You did. I called the company. Is there anyone else here? Where's the director? Where's Mr. Pastori? Can he answer my questions?
Ms. Efron, the commissioner is answering the questions.
Well, how am I supposed to believe him? In all fairness, I've been lied to right to my face, not just by him, by many people in this administration, including the town attorney's office, who told me that they were updating the fire policy at the animal shelter, and a year later, and after a court forced the decision, I was told there is no policy.
Thank you.
How about someone with some credibility?
Thank you so much.
And you should give this man some extra time.
And thank you very much. Is anybody who hasn't been heard on the administrative calendar here that would like to speak on it? Good morning. Give your name and address for the record.
And this is Shauna Godfrey at 19 Cedar Street, New York. I wanted to ask a question. I want to know who are y'all supposed to be representing? Because it seems like you're not representing the community. You know, and when things get kind of tough, I see everybody just tries to shut that person down who's trying to speak. So, if you can answer that question.
Is there anything on the administrative calendar in particular you're talking about right now?
Okay, that's for take care of that. Is that for the park? Item 22, ask about paragraph. I don't know. We're supposed to be getting the revenue. It's not the spot. What's the I'm not. Ask about CARES Act. Okay, about CARES Act funding. Can you please, for the park, can you please tell me what you're going to be doing about that? That's on item 22.
I don't know about what you're referring to, and item number 22 with CARES Act funding for the park. John, is there anything on that? And 22 for CARES Act funding for a park?
No.
Oh, okay. There's nothing on that about CARES Act funding for the park on number 22. If you'd like to stick around for the comment area to talk about, but that's just a resolution.
I think people...
No, Ms. Godfrey, this is your 3 minutes, Ms. Godfrey, please. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Godfrey. Thank you very, very much.
As for Hempstead Park, can the kids be relocated to a different park until you get get everything straightened out in 12 days? Can they be relocated for a short space of time, I guess, until you get this straightened out? Because the children still have to do things.
I don't know if they reached out to the local school district, see if they can use any of the fields.
I'm just asking.
I'm just giving a possible alternative. If they reached out to the school district, maybe the school district could alleviate one of their fields.
What can you do? What can you do to help the people and the children? What can you do for them?
Like I said, I think we're trying to do all we can. We have a lot of different areas that we make investments in, and you know what? I said, hopefully in 12 days they'll have access back to that field. We're sort of limited. When you don't own the property, there's really not much you can do.
But that's what I said. Okay, we understand that we don't own it, you don't own it. So can it be relocated to a place where you own, so they can, get the practice that they can get and try to be the greatest team that they can be?
The only suggestion I'd make is if they reach out and see if there's any availability through the Parks Department, but again, you also have to think about maybe they could find a school if it is.
It'd be nice if you guys could.
Ma'am,
Instead of them trying to, find where they can go.
Do you know if they reached out to Nassau County and asked Nassau County if they could use any of their fields?
Yep, we did. They told us no.
Okay.
Ma'am, as the supervisor had implied before, until and unless we have some sort of agreement with the property owner, we couldn't simply go and make improvements, but we did come to this agreement. Now, to look for another place when in 12 days' time I'll have that agreement before this board passed would probably not be productive at all. We're going to be able to accomplish what you want. I think it's all excellent news, wonderful news. Largely at the behest of the senior councilwoman that we were able to accomplish this. It's just going to be non-productive to try to look for an alternative in the 12-day gap between now and the next board meeting.
All right, I'm going to leave before
Ms. Godfrey, anything else you want to add, Ms. Godfrey? Mr. Godfrey, you've had the time. It's Ms. Godfrey. It's your opportunity now, ma'am.
The acting commissioner, the commissioner of Flow, I want to thank him for a wonderful job with guiding me, helping with me on my problem that Ms. Goosey did not want to finish. Now, the last.
Okay, no, Mr. Godfrey, 3 minutes over. Is there anybody else in the public here today that hasn't been heard on the administrator that would like an opportunity? Thank you, Ms. Godfrey. Okay, I don't have anybody else. May I please have a motion on the administrative calendar? On the administrative calendar?
Second. Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman. Councilman Creedy. Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilman Boothby. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Okay, before we call the next part, we do want to give a special presentation to Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Want to make a motion to adjourn? Yep.
I make a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Creedy.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Pasito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Okay, I do want to say, on behalf of the town board, over a year and a half ago, we made the announcement at our program in February before the pandemic broke about dedicating the plaza in Senior Councilwoman Goosby's name. We're happy that we were able to finally schedule it with some special guests that are coming. It's always nice when you schedule things and you actually have a U.S. Senator that wants to come to the program that asked us to schedule it around his timetable, and we were able to accommodate. So we'd ask any of the residents to please join us on October 2nd, 2021. And I'll say Senior Councilwoman, more importantly, Dorothy, on behalf of everyone here, we love working with you on this town board. You're a great advocate, you're a great friend, and frankly, I don't think we could thank you, and we're looking forward to the ceremony on October 2nd. So on behalf of everyone,
thank you so much, and I'm very happy. My family is coming from Georgia and so forth, and they will be here. And I'm just, it's wonderful.
it'll be a great ceremony. It's going to be a beautiful ceremony. We're looking forward to it. Well, now that the formal town vote, yeah.
I'd like to make a quick motion to take a 10-minute recess, please.
Second.
10-minute recess. Second. Okay, we're going to take a 10-minute recess. We'll start up at 11:50 on the clock in the back. The formal town board meeting has been adjourned. The town board will remain to listen to the comments of its residents. I have a couple of slips in here. We'll start with Darrell Godfrey. And I believe he's uncovered. Okay.
Stand in the back room.
Yep. He's in the back?
Yeah, it's like he's in the Parks Commission.
Yeah, well, he had
No, he's not in the back.
He's not in the back? Okay. Dow Godfrey? Okay, Stu Kroll. Good morning, Mr. Kroll. If you could give me your name and address for the record.
Stu Kroll, Great Neck. We've now reached late September, and precious little has changed at the town shelter. Cats are still being fixed at a minuscule rate compared to the past. Many private shelters are fixing more cats without the benefit of a $5.5 million budget. A number of town council members here are either running for re-election or for a new office. Let's discuss your record on animal rights, so all animal advocates will be well aware of your accomplishments or lack thereof. Have any of you ever spoken out, when anything was going on at the shelter? The shelter was closed for a great period of time while everything else was open. TNR is virtually a contactless proposition. Why was it closed entirely for such a long period of time? Even now, it is operating at a bare bones level. Perhaps I wasn't paying attention when one or more of you spoke up on behalf of the animals. When Pastore gave the Utica facility a clean bill of health, when in fact the conditions were so horrible, the Utica mayor was brought to tears, a Utica rescue group rescued many of our dogs. We respectfully ask this board to allocate funds to this group to help defray their expenses. Did anyone here even bring it up for discussion? The answer, of course, is no. It was never even broached. Perhaps it was necessary to cut expenses to the quick in order to funnel as much money as possible into the black hole of the general fund. Along the same line, Pastore sent adoptable cats and still is to a feral cat sanctuary in Maryland with privately raised funds. What minuscule number of cats are actually residing at the shelter at this point? Again, more money for the general fund. Mr. Clayton, you will no doubt shortly be making more campaign promises. Anyone watching this meeting should be aware of how your promises have worked out. You promised to end the proliferation of mailers. People's mailboxes are overflowing with mail on a regular basis. You promised to dismiss all of your commissioners. You have yet to do that, but as I see many of them are here today, you can feel free to honor that pledge and start. Again, I don't hear much of a response. You vowed to fix the shelter, promising to bring in Ms. Madden and her valuable experience to assist in this endeavor. He is here now. If you care to extend an offer, I'm sure people will be willing to listen. People are paying more attention to subterfuge, and it's not going to be very easy for you to make promises that you have no intention of keeping. How many animals have suffered and or died while you were taking photo ops with Cub Scouts? Your performance with regard to your promises has been deceitful and pathetic. If there are physically challenged individuals watching this meeting or stay-at-home moms, just be aware that if they in the past emails could be sent to you and read into the record. You may be homebound and cannot attend and question your elected representatives unless you can be here in person. This doesn't seem remotely fair. It is also discriminatory and blatantly illegal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Thanks for visiting the town. Next, I'm going to call up Tuhita Mateen. Good morning. If you give your name and address to the record, thank you.
Hi, my name is Tahita Mateen, and I am I'm covering Nassau County for the United States Small Business Administration, the SBA. I am working in the area to talk about, this is stuff on my, to make sure that you share with your constituents that the SBA does have the Disaster Recovery Center open. Actually, it's the FEMA Disaster Recovery Center open. As it relates to businesses and homeowners and residents applying for assistance due to the effects of Hurricane Ida flooding. So I just wanted to, I also sent an email over to you as well, Supervisor, so hopefully you shared that with everybody. If there's some way that I can get this on the website, that would be good, a link or something like that.
Absolutely. Kathy Malone, Kathy, that's my executive assistant. She's going to, in the back, you talk to her, we'll get all the information, get it out there for you.
Okay.
All right? Thank you for your good work.
Okay, thank you. I just want to mention that if there's any residents in here, the Michael J. Tilley Park at 1801 Evergreen Avenue, New Hyde Park, is a location if you need help in person. FEMA's there, MTA is there, the Coast Guard, I believe, is there. They have mental health services there, so it's like a one-stop shop if you need help to recover from the flooding as well. The deadline for residents to apply is November 4th if you have physical damage, so that's for homeowners and renters and business owners, November 4th. Businesses, if you need to recover revenue losses, that deadline is June 6th of 2022, so you have a little bit longer. But yes, thank you so much.
No problem. And like I said, Kathy's in the back. We'll get that and we'll post it online. And thank you very much. All right. Reverend Mario Giuseppe?
What?
Tony Hall? Diane Madden?
Diane Madden, Hempstead. I love all of those lovely people who are begging for toilet rolls for their children to play on the fields, to know, Supervisor, that this administration has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to renovate even private bathrooms of your commissioners, according to a lawsuit that Felix was good enough to file against the town. We learned that those touchless toilets are throughout the town, and even personal bathrooms were redone for your favorite commissioners. In June, 2 dogs were released to the animal shelter. I have no idea how they got in there. They probably had to pass a test. And in case their names are Precious and Winter, one is a pit bull mix. It's not easy to get a bonded pair as they were. They lived with a person who passed away. Very difficult to get a single pit bull out at times, let alone a double adoption. And a wonderful man, I ended up getting all of the information, including the emails to the mismanaged animal shelter and his application to foster. He's got an impeccable reputation. He works with another municipality, highly reputable, but basically the town of Hempstead Shelter said, no thanks, that Oakdale is too far. You have a director that severs these kinds of relationships. I've said it from 2016 to present. These are relationships other municipalities are welcoming and partnering with. So these dogs not only are subjected to becoming ill and their behaviors declining, but sitting there at the animal shelter instead of in a foster care provider setting, they are more susceptible to illness, they are susceptible to very stressful conditions that they can't tolerate. Not to mention the fact that taxpayers pay for every single, you don't have to like animals to know that taxpayers are funding for every animal every day that is housed at the animal shelter. I'd like to know what's being done about this. I'd like to know if this application is being revisited. I looked at the application. They made the excuse of the animal shelter that it was too far. It's about 25 miles away. Besides the fact that foster care providers are the ones that do the transporting, whether the dogs have to come back because there's a possible adopter. By the way, this applicant was happy to work with the shelter to find a forever home, just to get them out of an environment and a less stressful environment. But those foster care providers, including this person, are willing, and they do, bring the dogs back and forth for meet and greets and for medical treatment if need be. I'd like to know if this application is going to be looked at again, or if you're just going to allow the mismanagement to continue while you take donations, Supervisor, from the people who have caused injuries.
Thank you, Ms. Madden. As always, appreciate your comments. Next, Denise Maynard.
See you next time.
Good afternoon. Your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good morning, Denise Maynard, Hempstead. Myself and my husband are 34-year Nassau County law-abiding and tax-paying residents that are seeking to live in a clean and sanitary environment. To bring to your attention that there is a homeless gentleman living at exit 20 southeastbound of the Southern State Parkway. I have called the Village of Hempstead, I have called the Hempstead Police, I have called the State and Highway Patrol. Every time I make a call, I'm getting transferred around. I've called the Nassau County Executive Office, left a voicemail with no return phone call. I have photos of the gentleman living here. As of yesterday, I also called Senior Councilwoman Dorothy Goosby's office and left a message. I believe she said her name was Miss Wingate. So again, I do have photos of the area, how unsanitary it's being kept. The police has come down because others have also called, and they seem to be able to not to do anything or choose to do nothing. And certainly, I'm sure he's probably using the public area as his bathroom. Now, that has to be unsanitary. And he's out here in the elements, and it's a shame to drive by every day and see that. And once I would like something to be done. I'm sure others also would like something to be done.
That's Baldwin, South Hempstead, right? Do you know if Nassau County asked anybody from social services? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay, all right. Who's the local legislator there? It's Vermont, Denver, so we'll ask them to have somebody from social services go down. Yeah, I know you're in the area you're talking about, that state property. If the county could have somebody from social services go there and see if they can help the person, we'll reach out to the legislators and see what we can do.
In the meantime, there's a lot of litter there. I'm sure if I was to keep in front of my house that way, or if I was to drive by and throw it out of my vehicle, I'd be ticketed and be stopped. So, the buck does seem to be getting passed. They speak to one place, they pass it to somebody else.
That's what you do, is tell the county police, but it's the county.
So are you saying you want the individual ticketed, or, I'm sorry?
That's not my decision. I'm sure he needs to get whatever help he needs to get.
Understood. So because if this is a similar situation that my office has gotten calls about, this is the exit or on-ramp, is it the one right by Grand Avenue by South Hempstead, Baldwin border?
Right, it's right before.
Just north of the Rose Boulevard Firehouse.
Right, it's right before when you're leaving Hempstead to go into Baldwin, when you're going southwest on Grand Avenue. It's right before the sign that says, "Welcome to South Hempstead."
Okay, yeah, so if, I'm going to walk back, I'm going to get your information, and we will give you a call back either this afternoon or tomorrow, and I'll fill you in on what we've done thus far.
And also, I want to know why it's so difficult. I live in the village of Hempstead, and I'm seeking a curb cut for a circular driveway. And I see other areas, other areas within the town of Hempstead, it's quite easy to get it. I call and find out how to get it if I was to live in South Hempstead. But in the village of Hempstead, they say the frontage of my house is too small. And when I spoke to the inspector and I told the other people in the village have it, she tells me to give her the addresses and she'll see how come they have it. So basically, she's asking me to rat people out. Why are we part of the town of Hempstead and it's so difficult to get out?
The village is its own separate entity. They have their own rules and regulations. They control all that. We have no say over that whatsoever. So if you want that, you have to go to Mayor Hobbs of the village of Hempstead. We have no control over any of the roadways and the buildings in the incorporated village like that. So you'd have to go to Mayor Hobbs. All right, thank you. And like I said, Councilman Giusti is going to follow up with you on that.
Councilman Greeny, do you mind if Melissa just grabs your information in the back? Is that right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Laura Wiggins. Afternoon. If you name and address of the record, please.
Laura L. Wiggins, Uniondale, New York. I'm here to speak about the hamlet Uniondale. A. Holly Patterson has now a new building standing on it. I call it the Big House. Others call it the Community Center. I call it the big house because it has multiple rooms where if you had anywhere from 10 to 15 people in a room standing up, it would be overcrowded and you wouldn't have room to sit down. This is a community center. I come here to ask, number one, the community center, which is named John J. Burns, which is really Monsignor John J. Burns of St. Martha's Church. The community does not know, and I have asked the Nostrand Garden Association, because they're a civic organization, GUAC, which is basically two facilitators who are facilitating, but they act as a civic organization. Uniondale Community Council, which is a private company, but they act as a civic organization. I've asked and called a number of people because I'm trying to find out who is going to be responsible for the maintenance of the, quote, big house. Who gave the designation to a Mr. Greaves as being the person who is in charge of, quote, the big house? Mr. Greaves has not spoken to the community. I go to many of their meetings. The only time I've heard of any type of arrangements is when Dr. William Lloyd addressed when he was superintendent of the Uniondale Free School District for 12 years, when he addressed the question of what happened to the, what was it now? The,
Ms. Wiggins, A. Holly Patterson is a county-owned facility. We have no control over that. What? And the land is the county, so we don't have any control or any say about any of this or the big house. That's a Nassau County question.
Okay, there's just one point. A. Holly Patterson had by Supervisor Patterson of Hempstead the position of being governed in all aspects by the town of Hempstead. The A. Holly Patterson land of 72 acres was given to the people of Uniondale.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying A. Holly Patterson was the county executive, but that's county land. We have nothing to do with it. We have no say in it.
A. Holly Patterson was never sold.
I'm not disputing it, but that's an issue for the county. We have nothing to say. And so I wish I could help you on that, but you have to go to the legislators on that.
Okay.
Okay?
May I just say one?
We have a very firm free, but I'll stick around and talk to you after if you want. Okay? So stick around if you want to talk a little bit after. I'll stick around and talk to you. Okay? Felix Percacci. Hey, Kathy. Kathy. After Mr. Percacci, give me your name and address for the record.
Felix Percacci, Franklin Square. To find out how the town spent Federal CARES Act funds, at the last meeting, Don Clayton said all you need to do is to look at the town's website. This is not exactly true. It is the first step, though. After you look at the town's website, you will see that the resolutions aren't very descriptive. You then come to town hall and ask a question, like I did last week, inquiring if the town used Federal CARES Act funds to pay for concerts or movies. After you ask your question, you get the cold shoulder from Town Supervisor Don Clayton, who refuses to answer your question. You then FOIL the information and get a notice from the FOIL officer that the town cannot respond within 20 days, but sets a date in the future when they can respond. When that date passes, you ask the FOIL officer for status and you get ignored. You then appeal the decision and you get ignored by the FOIL appeals officer too. You then ask Supervisor Clavin if you could get a status of your FOIL request, and he says he'll take it under advisement. Don also ignores all your emails asking for a status of your FOIL request. You then file an Article 78 court action, and like magic, the town begins to respond to your FOIL request for federal CARES funds. So Don got part of the process right. People do have to start looking at the town's website first. But that's only the first step in a long and very expensive process that residents need to go to find out how town federal CARES money is spent. And when you do get some data, you find out that the details from that data do not correspond to the resolution. So you find out that the town violated the open meetings law by not disclosing all the expenditures. On another issue, Don Durham refuses to respond to my request for a status of a FOIL request. He also refuses to abide by state law and send all FOIL appeals to the Committee on Open Government, as required by law. The town is breaking the law. Don, so can I get a status of my FOIL appeal 2021-06303? And can you order Don Durham to send all FOIL appeals to the Committee on Open Government, as required by state law? Can you answer either of those questions?
Mr. Couch, we've come for a long time. This is the public comment section. We appreciate always hearing you.
20 years, a few months earlier. It's 11 years. It's 11 years, and you answer questions when you could get gratification from those answers. But because you're wrong on this, the town is breaking the law. They're breaking open meetings law. They're breaking FOIA law. And they're breaking the law of common courtesy. You don't want to answer.
Okay, next I have Ms. Meredith. Ms. Meredith? Okay. Next I have Valerie Lamb.
That's right.
It's signed in Valerie Lamb. I can't change it.
I never signed it.
I'm just saying that's what it says. Okay. Good afternoon. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Valerie Heffron, currently house hunting in the town of Hempstead. $68 million. I've been talking to a lot of small business owners. Coincidentally, they're my friends, and there are many of them who are staunch Republicans. $68 million, when they find out, was allocated to your own bank account here within the town, as opposed to actually helping small business owners as they struggle to keep their doors open in the middle of a global pandemic. You're losing a lot from your own team. Staunch Republicans are now ready to cross party lines, and they're also ready to actually claim themselves as either independents or no party. They're disgusted. I understand that you can't save everyone. I also understand that I would go bankrupt before I let my neighbors starve. The reality is that that $68 million looks good on paper to Wall Street, which seems to be the priority here, versus to the mom and pop shops on Main Street, many of whom had to go into debt to be able to keep paying their payroll and keep their employees on. Many of them didn't make it. I've been driving up and down all these streets that I know so well, and I see so many empty storefronts, and it breaks my heart because every single one of those was someone's dream. I know what it's like to start a business and be an entrepreneur. I know what it's like to pick your colors, choose your logo, your tagline, your address, every little decision matters. And I'm quite frankly really disappointed, and I'm heartbroken, and that's one of the reasons I'm choosing to come back here, because I can't stand to just sit on the sidelines and watch. On a lighter note, I went to Riverhead the other night to advocate for the animals. It was refreshing to see that they're proud of the fact that they were first as a township to offer Zoom meetings. They were first to actually open their doors. And there was a gentleman there who asked on behalf of the disabled if they could also do hybrid meetings, because there were many people who are disabled or just unable to make the meetings. And their board was very accommodating and open to that. What a breath of fresh air. The disrespect that I've witnessed both virtually here and in person over the past 19 months is incomparable. The broken promises, sir, Mr. Clavin, you act like you don't know me yet. I have your cell phone, we used to speak all the time. Your broken promises go past the amount that Laura Gillen ever broke herself. And I just want to say one last thing. As the proud co-founder of the New York State Board of Elections Registered Multi-Committee, I just got the paperwork and we will be officially endorsing your opposition. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Doris Cook. Good afternoon, Ms. Cook. If you give your name and address to the record, please.
Yes, my name is Doris Cook, and I am a resident of Roosevelt for 50 years. And we want to thank our councilwoman for, she started at before COVID, to clean up Nassau Road. Okay, Nassau Road needs help again, because when you come off at exit 21, it's totally embarrassing. The next big complaint is about a gas station on West Raymond and Nassau Road. And this gas station beside it had a tire place. And they had hundreds of tires that were not covered and kept out. And I can't even sit on my patio because of the mosquitoes, the intensity of the mosquito population in that area. My son, Dr. Cook, wrote a letter to the Department of
Health Department?
Yes, to see about the mosquitoes, because they also carry a disease, a germ, and they need to be cleaned up. Also, at the name of the repair shop is All-in-One Repair Shop there on Nassau Road, and they have cars sitting on the street. I've called the policeman about it, and the cars are from different states, North Carolina, and also one plate says, it had the temporary plate on it, and it's March 14th, 2021, March. And the other plate says a diplomat. And on that same corner, these cars sit there month after month. They've been there, 6 months in the same spot. And you can't even have your sidewalk clean because of the cars that's parked on the street. And also, I'd like to add that they bring cars there. There's a church on Raymond, and they bring cars there, and that's where they take pictures, and you see them exchanging money, and they get in the car and go off. So they're selling cars also at that location. And that station, All-in-One Repair Shop, need to be investigated and monitored. And thank you.
Thank you. Teresa, would you go back and get all the information? She's going to come back there with you so she can get all the information that you have. I agree with you with that tire company. I've been working with them for many years trying to get rid of those tires. Anyone here from buildings? Okay, would you speak with her, please? All right. We'll have somebody else come and speak with you, too.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you for your years of service.
Thank you.
Shady Burns? Good afternoon. If you give your name and address for the record, please.
Shadi Burns, 200 Fulton Avenue in Hempstead.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm here today to, I don't know if this is the right place, number one, to speak on this, but I'm here because I'm a homeschooling mom of 2, and I reside in the town of Hempstead. Per the New York State laws, I have the right to educate my children how I choose, whether it's sending them to public school or homeschooling, and I'm also aware of my right to use the use of public accommodations without being discriminated against. I am also still aware that we are in a pandemic. So on Friday, September 11th, I went to the library. I was kicked out due to my inability to wear a mask. Due to my medical condition, I can't breathe properly. So they kicked me out. They called the police when I was just trying to obtain library cards for my 2 homeschool children. I am very disappointed with their actions, and I would also like someone to reach out to the library to revise their policies and to incorporate medical exemptions, medical mask exemptions, and I also have the disability exemptions for the executive order right here. If somebody can pass it to you guys.
Which library were you at?
Hempstead Library.
Okay, that's controlled by the Village of Hempstead.
Okay, so where do I go for that?
Why don't we get the address for Village Hall of Hempstead? It's right down the block. We'll get that for you right after the meeting. Stick around for a couple minutes.
Okay, that's it? Okay.
All right, why don't you go back right now, and I'll have somebody go back there. Billy Salmon, maybe you go back there and give her the address for Village Hall of Hempstead.
Wait, so would I have to come to like a board meeting for the village?
Well, maybe you could go down and pass your thoughts to the mayor through the staff, and maybe they could, find a way to assist you. Bill's going to give you meet him in the back. He's going to give you the address for Village Hall, which is literally right next to the library.
Okay.
All right. I don't have any other slips. Is there anyone else here in attendance that hasn't signed in that would like to be heard?
Yes.
Okay, if you give your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, I did also sign in for public comment. Bonnie Jerome, Rockville Center. 2 things. I wasn't planning to talk about this, but following up on what Diane Madden said, anybody who's ever had a pet or likes animals or even has a heart can imagine what it's like for these 2 dogs whose owner died and then they end up in the shelter. One's a pit bull mix. So, the likelihood of that animal getting adopted or fostered is lower than most. You've got somebody who, out of the goodness of their heart, has offered to do this. Would one of you please intercede and let these 2 bonded animals go to foster care in Oakdale? How hard is it? Do any of you have pets? Do you care about animals? Do you have a heart? Could you please think about that and see if you can intercede? But the main reason I'm here is that at the last session, Mr. Clavin, you mentioned, I think at least twice, that Newsday said that you were transparent with CARES money. Now, I don't agree with them, but let's look at what when they thought they could see what you did with the money, let's look at what they said about it. In September 28, 2020, an editorial said, quote, Clavin has the ability and the responsibility to help Nassau help Hempstead town residents while hanging on to enough to meet his own needs. And at a time when the pandemic should override politics, that's the decision Clavin should make, end quote. Then, on January 25th, 2021, a Newsday editorial said, quote, the law shouldn't have given the town of Hempstead this money. And once Hempstead got the money, it should have distributed it with an eye toward fairness that reflected need and not politics. So, Mr. Clavin, when you cite Newsday as saying you did a great job with the CARES money, have the integrity to tell the public the whole story. Because this is what they saw when they looked. Thank you.
Mr. Remmel, I would just like to state for the record that my son has a mixed pit bull rescue dog. It's the sweetest, most loveliest dog, and I recommend anybody, they are very grateful to be adopted, they should adopt them because they're loyal, and they're warm, and they're fun dogs.
Well, you know.
Thank you, Councilman. I know I think you, there was, who else did not sign the one to speak? Be coming up to the mic there and check that.
Sir, my time's not up,
Okay.
so I'm going to respond. Mr. Blakeman, it surprises me, because I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with you. And honestly, you seem to have a heart when it comes to animals. So on this one specific instance, not everybody agrees with you about a pit bull mix. Could you intercede and let these two animals please go to a home to be fostered? Thanks.
Thank you again. How you doing? Come on up there and give your name and address in the record.
How you doing? Kelly Stewart, Merrick, New York. I'm here because we need to reopen the TNR program to its full capacity prior to COVID. This schedule and appointment nonsense is ridiculous. Has anyone on that board ever attempted to trap a cat? A feral cat? Oh geez, we have an appointment Thursday, cat. Please get in the flipping trap. Doesn't work. Do you have any idea how much time, patience, cost it takes to do this of our own free time? No, no, no. Please raise your hand if you've ever trapped a cat. None, of course not. Scheduling an appointment to trap a cat to spay and neuter is absurd. We need to reopen the TNR program to its full prior COVID capacity. Veterinarians are now doing in-person, in the building appointments, not curbside at many of them. We need to do this. This is crazy. Kitten season was insane. It is still going on. My other question is regarding COVID policies. That is the Department of Health is your guideline, and the governor, useless governor, I could write a statement for this building as well as our Board of Ed and just take out the TNR grant. Because we need people, elected officials, that are going to do what is best for us. There is a line in the sand, and I have drawn it with the mask mandates. If we do not stand up and say that this is absurd, it is proven scientifically, this is nonsense to put our kids in these masks. I am one of those Republicans that Valerie referred to. I don't think I've ever voted for a Democrat until the Santino nonsense with the Oceanside cats. I am tired of elected officials not doing what they say they're going to do. Mr. Blakeman was one of the people, if I'm not wrong, asking to unmask our kids on the stairs, the steps of the county. Where is that oomph now, when toddlers, 2-year-olds, are being told they have to wear masks?
I've said consistently that I think the decision to wear a mask should be made between the parent, the child, and if they want to, consult with a physician.
And we can all say and talk as much as we want, but until somebody actually stands up and says enough, it's going to keep going on. Next will be get in line for your vaccine, or you're not going to have a job, or you're not going to be able to go in this building. Oh wait, that's already happening in New York City, and nobody's putting their foot down.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other slips. Is there anybody else here that wishes to be heard that hasn't spoken yet? If not, have a great day. Thank you all very, very much.